In Charlotte, someone's going to have some Mayo dumped on them. Is it going to be Dave Doran at NC State, or is it going to be Mike Loxley at the University of Maryland? That's right. It is time for the Duke's Mayo Bowl, the Maryland Terrapins and the North Carolina State Wolfpack. This is a ranked NC State team, 8-4, number 23 in the country. I think this is a decent challenge for the Maryland Terrapins. Now, we'll talk about NC State and the issues that they're kind of having as well right now, but let's dive into what exactly we're going to find in this jar of Mayo. Maryland's greatest strength possibly has opted out of this bowl game. That's three really good wide receivers. I think the thing that made this Maryland offense so dynamic kind of all season long was their ability to get it to multiple wide receivers. And now you have Dante Demas, you got Jacob Copeland, you got Rakeem Jarrett all opting out of this bowl game trying to prepare for the NFL. Over 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns combined from all of those guys. So you got to find a way to replace that quickly for Maryland. And the answer might surprise you. Now, before we get to that answer, you got to look at Deshaun Jones. He was the leading wide receiver for this season in a room full of really good wide receivers. Okay, and then you take a look at Corey Dyches, the tight end. I think he really stepped up this year. I think we knew that Maryland would have a lot of good wide receivers, but what Corey Dyches has done at tight end, especially some long throws down the field, the deep ball, I think he's provided a different threat for Maryland in this passing game. So those are the two guys. Look, you don't have as much guys. You don't have a plethora of guys. This was a balanced passing attack. You didn't, even though Deshaun Jones was the number one receiver in this offense, you didn't really have a guy that was the number one guy. I think you had a lot of 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. Any guy could really go off, and any guy could really have a really good day at any given point in time. Now, they need to get more balance. Now, I will say this. They've done a really good job. Maryland has done a really good job balancing out their offense this season. They've been able to run the ball better with Roman, especially Roman Hemby. Also look at Antoine Littleton and Ramon Brown. Because of what they're losing in the wide receiver room, this is a running back room that really needs to step up. And I think all three of these guys could and should see the field with a lot of playing time in this game. So you need more balance. Even though Talia Tagovailoa can throw the ball down the field like nobody's business, it's just because of the lack of weapons, you need to create some semblance of a running game. I think the running game is going to be more important than some people really think coming into this game. So if they can't run the football, I just don't know if they have the weapons to separate from what North Carolina State is throwing out there on the defensive side of the ball. Let's talk about the Wolfpack, right? You talk about the quarterback position. Talia Tagovailoa pretty solidified over there. NC State, man, they've trotted out, 4 or 5 guys there this season? Of course, it started with Devin Leary. He was one of the top quarterback prospects in this recent transfer portal. He was injured at some time, I think, in October, and then, of course, now he's since transferred to Kentucky. Then you throw out MJ Morris, but he did pretty well. 7 touchdowns and 1 interception in his stint as the North Carolina State quarterback. And then he gets hurt. Then you throw in Ben Finley for the last game of the season, and he played great in the season finale in a win over a ranked North Carolina team. So I think is it going to be MJ Morris? Is it going to be Ben Finley? I think North Carolina State will be good. I think no matter what direction they go in at quarterback. Now, one thing that is key to this North Carolina State passing attack is the loss of Devin Carter at wide receiver. He's opted out of this bowl game, 25 receptions, 406 yards, and 2 touchdowns for the receiver. So they got to find another guy to step up, and that guy definitely is Thayer Thomas. He's the team's leading wide receiver, 53 catches, 588 yards, and 4 touchdowns this season. A key for Maryland is going to be Jacorian Bennett, this team's top defensive back at corner. Can Jacorian Bennett match up with Thayer Thomas and find a way to slow him down? You go back to that Purdue-Maryland game earlier this season, Jacorian Bennett found a way. He found a way to lock in on Charlie Jones. And, Charlie Jones still had a decent day, but he didn't have the explosive day that really could have, I think Purdue ended up winning the football game anyway, but you need to try to contain Thayer Thomas to try to have a good day at the office right now if you're the Maryland Terrapins. Look, these are two offenses that are going to look to throw the football. You look at NC State, they're 12th in the ACC in rushing. Maryland is better. Maryland's kind of middle of the road in the Big Ten in rushing right now. So I think they have a little bit of a better chance to provide some balance on their side of the ball. I like how, like I said before, I like how they've implemented some offense this season. And then you take a look at this is the time to movement. It's player movement, but it's also coaching movement. Tim Beck. Remember that name, Nebraska fans? Tim Beck, he was the offensive coordinator back in the day at Wisconsin, I think under Bo Pelini. Nebraska, but you look at Tim Beck, and he left to be the head coach at Coastal Carolina. So now, according to Dave Doran, there's going to be a collaborative effort in offensive play calling. So it's going to be interesting to see if that has an effect on the flow of the offense in terms of a play calling standpoint for North Carolina State. I think the key for both of these teams is who can run the football better and who can have a better day defending the opposing team's passing attack. This could be a fun one. This has the potential to be wide open. Okay, this has the potential for Maryland to get up and down the field. This also has the potential for North Carolina State to get up and down the field. I would not be surprised if this one turns into an offensive explosion. Neither one of these defenses are really great defenses, but this is a chance for Maryland to really prove that they're taking steps ahead. Right, they're kind of stuck in this 6-6, 7-5 realm to get an 8-win season and a win over a ranked 8-win North Carolina State team, former rival of theirs back into their days in the ACC. I think that could be a step in the right direction for Maryland. Look, things aren't going to get any easier in the Big Ten. You want to show some semblance of improvement in your program. I think a win over North Carolina State could do that. And hey, everybody wants to get dumped on to Mayo at the end of the Duke's Mayo Bowl.